Before this video starts, I do want to do a little disclaimer here and say that over the course of filming this vlog, we discovered multiple remains of Indigenous children at residential schools across North America. I believe at the current count, there's 1,300. I will leave links downstairs for you to go check out. To learn more about residential schools, the harm that they cause, the effects that they still carry today with intergenerational trauma, charities you can go donate to help residential school survivors, just different things to just go help. I've been talking about this a lot, but I'm tired of trying to convince you that you should care about dead children. If you are triggered by discussions of residential schools, native trauma, child death, stuff like that, just be aware that I do discuss that in this video. With that being said, let's get on to the video. Do your part to educate yourself on Native issues and the effects of colonization across the Americas. Just educate yourself, and please quit tagging me in posts about dead children. I look like a Boy Meets World character right now. Don't you love it in like the worst way? Hey y'all, it's Bear, and this might be like the ugliest and most fantastic outfit I've ever worn on YouTube. As you can tell by the title of today's video, this is going to be part 3 in my What's Your Sign series, and we are starting Gemini today. Geminis are very quick and witty and clever, and they like to bounce around topic of conversations. It's very hard to keep them focused on one thing because their mind is constantly going to this and this and this, and they like to flit around different subjects. Geminis like to know a lot about a lot of different topics on a surface level, and they have an opinion about everything without actually caring about the thing. Basically, Geminis like to argue, they like to play devil's advocate. They want you to know that your side is not the only side. Even if they agree with you, they're gonna try and make you see a different side. They're very uncomfortable with feelings, but they're very good at reading people and telling you all about your feelings. And Gemini, they have a reputation. We all know Gemini has the reputation of being like the worst in the zodiac. And while they are traditionally not my favorite sign, I think that they get a bad rep for no reason. A lot of people seem to think that Gemini are lying two-faced bitches, whenever in actuality they're just very good at adapting what they're saying and how they come off to the person they're talking to. Gemini is a sign that's all about communication, whether that be good or bad. So, because of that, I'm very excited to see how these books come across. So, the first book I'm going to talk about is The Plague of Doves by Louise Erdrich. This one is going to fulfill the prompt of reading a book by a Gemini author. And I believe that this is like a multi-generational story about like an unsolved murder that's plagued this Ojibwe family, different family threads. So I'm excited to see the way that Louise Erdrich writes. I like her writing. I've just never read a book to completion. Next, we have a book that was published in Gemini season, and I'm going with a title that came out last year. That is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. Ironically, this is also a favorite of Sarah's from Streaming Books, and Sarah is a Gemini. This is a sapphic young adult romance that follows Liz Lately, who wants to go to a good college and leave her hometown, and in order to do that, she thinks she needs to win prom queen. I am very excited for this. I have been reading a lot of queer YA again. I've been diving back into that comfort zone of mine, and it's been very nice. I just read May the Best Man Win, which my friend Audrey describes as like the evil twin to this book, so I'm very excited. Now I'm going to switch up the positions for you, and we are going to change up the way I do my community favorites. If you watched the first 2 installments of this video, you know that traditionally next I would pick 2 people in the community who are Geminis, and I would read one of their favorite books each. However, whenever I posted my original tweet saying like, what's your zodiac sign and what are some of your favorite books, I got 14 replies from Geminis, which is funny because I feel like Geminis are one of those signs that don't really believe in astrology. It's traditionally like the first 4 signs that don't believe in astrology. And while I was going through those replies from Gemini people, I started noticing that there were some books that were repeating themselves. So, from Dragon Easy Reads, Alicia Living Life, and Hardback Hoarder, Gideon the Ninth got mentioned. Allie from Hardback Hoarder didn't mention Gideon the Ninth, but I know this is on one of her favorite shelves on Goodreads, so I'm counting it. And this is a sapphic necromancer space opera, I believe. But I've been really getting into sci-fi lately. I've been reading a lot of space books, so I'm very excited to jump into this one. The next book was also on 3 people's favorite lists. It was on Melita from the Midnight Librarian, Tediously Brief, and Nicholas Fox. And the book that was mentioned on those three lists was The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. It's a fantasy novel that takes place in New York, and every city has a soul. But because New York City has boroughs, I believe that each borough has a soul, like a spirit, like a manifestation, like a deity of that borough. These are the 4 books that I will be reading in this video, if I can make it through without changing my TBR, which has been a common trend in these videos. I change my TBR in like every fucking secret TBR video that I make, but I think that I can do this one. I feel this one feels like the one I can make it through. And I am expecting quick, witty, dry humor. I am expecting maybe some plot twists, but like more plot twisty than traditional plot twists, you know, like big dramatic things that like maybe don't make a lot of sense in the grand scheme of things, but they're still there and they work for the story because of the chaotic nature. I think we're gonna have some secret identity, some secrets revealed. I don't know, I feel like because Geminis are very good at like adapting themselves to different situations, we're gonna get some like, oh no, my dark secret has been revealed. Oh no, this plot twist that hinges on my like family history has been revealed. I feel like this one's gonna be dramatic. I feel like these books are all gonna be very dramatic and over the top in like the best way possible. Hi, it is now a couple of days later. It's currently 2 a.m. We're ignoring the fact that I like the sun off of the Teletubbies. I shaved. Yes, if you see stray hairs, ignore them. It's 2 a.m. I'll fix it in the morning. I have finished Gideon the Ninth, and I have decided to rate it a 4 out of 5 star on like personal taste level. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like this is a book that you either love or you hate, but not like love or hate. I think that this book, it's fantastic. I love the characters. I love the humor. I like the dialogue in the book is a huge point of interest for me. I love the dialogue in this book. I thought that Gideon was a very fun character. Gideon is very quick-witted and very humorous and kind of making the best out of like the shitty situation that she's been dealt. My critiques are, I think that it wasn't the writing style that I didn't gel with. However, I thought some of the sentences were too long. Specifically, like, I was reading every sentence thinking I could easily knock 5 words out of most of these sentences and still say the same thing. It could have been edited down just a teeny bit. There were a lot of twists, there were a lot of turns, there were a lot of double crossings and secrets that were revealed in people's dramatic backstories, and I feel like that was kind of what I was hoping for out of this. What I wanted out of this was drama, chaos, and humor, and that's what I got. Next book, I stuck my foot in my mouth when I said this was going to be the vlog where I read everything that was on the TBR and I wasn't going to change the TBR. Sorry, Louise, I am reading Heartberries. I decided to go with this book, A, because the author is a Gemini, but B, because since Gemini is the communicator, and I talked earlier about really wanting to get that Gemini voice down, I want to see how that translates through nonfiction, specifically a hard-hitting memoir like this one. Just reading from the synopsis, it mentions PTSD and bipolar, so I'm hoping this is hard-hitting, but I've heard that it's a little bit humorous as well. This was essentially a healing exercise, and I'm curious to see how that comes through, that Gemini voice comes through in nonfiction. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm sorry, but we are going to get very heavy for a moment before I jump into my usual fun, chatty, let's talk about Gemini people I know thing. Recently, the remains of 215 First Nations children were found unmarked, undocumented in a mass grave on a former residential school in Canada. You know, it's been a hard 10 days. Things are happening in my real life, as always, but the residential school children really got to me. And not seeing anyone really talking about it on Twitter besides other Native people has been affecting me a lot more than I thought it would be. You'd think by now I'd be used to people not saying anything because that's such a common thing. And I was debating on whether I wanted to talk about it in this video. Obviously, it's very important to talk about, and I do want to mention it and leave articles for you to read downstairs. I want you to understand that residential schools were not like a thing of the past. Like the last one, I believe, closed in like 1996 or 1998 after I was born. Residential schools are like less than 25 years out. It's so wild to think that this is something that people don't know about. People don't understand that residential schools were not like way back in the day of the Pilgrims. No, they were like in the 50s and 60s all the way up through the 90s. Some of these videos are going to get heavy, right? right? Because I'm essentially vlogging a year in my life. I will be able to look back on this vlog series as like a fun little zodiac experiment and also see all of the shit that I've gone through in a year. I've been crying since the stuff was posted, since I saw the articles, and it hurts not seeing anyone talking about it. And I'm not trying to guilt people into talking about it, but sometimes that feels like the only way that we can get shit done is people have to be guilted into educating themselves, and that's not cool. There were hundreds of children who the families that they were taken away from were told that they ran away or that they were adopted or whatever. And no, they were killed. They were raped, they were tortured, they were killed, and then they were put in unmarked graves on the school grounds. Please understand that. And please understand that the government didn't care. No one cared whenever these kids went missing because they were trying to kill them in the first place. Kill the Indian, save the person. That's what the mantra was. So my challenge to you as a viewer today is to just take some time, go pause this video, read some of the shit that I put in the description, and educate yourself and figure out ways that you can give back. Just don't be performative about it, because I swear to God, the next person I see doing performative activism for Native people because they saw me make a tweet and they felt guilty is getting fucking blasted. I wanted to do some self-care because I've been feeling like shit. So I shaved my face, and we're gonna do an overnight face mask. So I'm gonna put on some face masks and we're gonna talk about some Geminis in my life. Okay, let's talk about Geminis in my life. I have a couple of note, but I really just want to take the time to talk about two people. The first one is Michelle from Thor Wants Another Letter. Michelle is one of my favorite people on this platform. She is the co-creator of the Indigathon and is doing so much. Michelle's been there so much for me. It's so nice to have another booktuber who gets it. Like, I have a lot of other native content creators that I'm friends with, right? But not very many of them are booktubers. Michelle, like, completely understands where I am coming from with everything that we talk about. I just wanted to take a minute and highlight her and this cool stuff she's doing. I like her TikToks, her reels on Instagram. She's really fun. And you should go follow her if you are not. This stuff feels so nice. I don't know what it's supposed to do. I think it's just like a hydrating overnight mask. It's stuck in my hair. The other Gemini, I guess, that I want to talk about, it's not like a specific person, but it's just like my co-workers who are Geminis. Hi, I don't know if any of you are subscribed to this channel. I love being able to pick out a Gemini because the first four signs, Aries through Cancer, are the ones who are most likely to tell me that astrology doesn't exist, and then it's pseudoscience and it's bullshit. So, you know how I can always tell whenever they're Geminis? Is whenever they ask me, what do you think my sign is? We're talking about zodiac signs. I don't do this a lot, I promise. This is just on topic for the video. And one of these people came up to me and was like, well, what do you think mine is? And I was like, are you an air sign? And he goes, no. And I was like, okay, so you're a Gemini. And he was like, yeah, how did you know? And I was like, because that's an air sign. And 20 minutes later, I was telling the story to someone, and this other guy comes up, he's like, oh, well, why don't you guess my sign? And I was like, oh, you're a Gemini too. And he was like, how the fuck did you know that? I'm sorry, Geminis, you guys are just so fucking Gemini. So now that I have this on and it's starting to do the cooling thing, I will update you whenever I have made it through Heartberries or made progress on Heartberries. It's under 200 pages, so it should not take me very long. So because Counterpoint Press sponsored one of our Indigathon giveaways last year, they also sent me a copy of the book. So thank you to Counterpoint Press for sending this to me. It wasn't a review copy, it was just like a, well, if we're hosting the giveaway, we can send you copies of our stuff too. And I will update you whenever I have something to update you on. I hope you can hear me over the thunderstorm that's happening right now and my neighbors screaming at each other, like leaning against my door. But, Gemini season. Finished Heartberries. I really enjoyed it, and I don't think that I should be discussing it in the context of this video as it being like a Gemini book that bounces around from topic to topic and all of the other stuff that I said, with it being such a personal memoir of like healing and trauma and mental health and stuff like that. I feel like that's not the appropriate context to discuss this book in. So I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The only thing that didn't gel for me was just the writing style, and it was such a good book, but I find it hard to discuss nonfiction, especially memoirs, because I feel like I'm talking about someone's life. I ran into the same issue whenever I read All Boys Aren't Blue in my Aries video. I do think that the writing style of this book will work for people who like kind of the train of thought writing style, like in Gideon the Ninth, where it's not necessarily rambly, but it kind of just keeps going on peaks and valleys and stuff. So the writing style didn't work for me, but the author is very talented, and I appreciated getting a glimpse into the different things that she went through with her relationships. The scenes that most impacted me, I think, were discussions about her and her children. Her children, one of them was taken away by his father, who lives in the US, and she lives with the second one in Canada, and how the child would interact with these men, her boyfriends, and then her future husband, and stuff like that. She discussed being in a hospital and the different steps and different programs and how everyone interacts differently, and Indigenous women dealing with healthcare racism and stuff like that. It was all very well done, and I encourage you to go check this book out. It's just discussing this in the context of this video doesn't feel like the appropriate place. After that, which was a little intense, I decided to go for something a little light and fluffy. So I'm going to be reading You Should See Me in a Crown. So I am going to settle in and read this one for a little bit. Don't know what else we're gonna do. I think it's interesting though that I think for Gemini to be one of my least favorite signs, it's really interesting that I'm having the easiest time so far reading these Gemini books. Y'all saw in my Aries video and my Taurus videos, it was a little bit of a struggle. I've had no issues whatsoever reading these books, getting them done in time according to schedule. I feel like we haven't really done any Gemini things, so I don't know, we're gonna like watch a movie or something. We'll figure something out. I want something maybe with twins, maybe like a secret identity. Should we watch Parent Trap by Lindsay Lohan? I changed my mind. We're watching Twitches because I remembered that it exists, and this shit was so good. Twin witches saving the world from an evil darkness, magical powers. It was fucking fantastic, and we are going to watch it today. 2005. 21st birthday. Y'all wanted new adult? Here we go. So it's now a couple of days later. I really enjoyed rewatching Twitches. It was very fun. But as far as actually reading for this video, You Should See Me in a Crown, I really enjoyed. I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. I see why Geminis like this book. Our protagonist doesn't really want to come out of the closet or be open because she thinks it's going to hurt her chances at being prom queen. She is outed, so trigger warnings for outing, and the school kind of like rallies behind her and helps her deal with that hate. And it was just a very heartwarming story. I found it very wholesome. I really enjoyed the side characters. I enjoyed the writing. This book made me laugh a couple times. It does have, I would say, pretty good Gemini vibes. This is going to be the shortest of all of the What's Your Sign videos because the readings are just going so well. I'm not having to change books mid-read. I'm not wasting time. Like, I am burning through this like no one's business. So I'll probably watch The Parent Trap tonight, for real this time, and I'm going to start on The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. The City We Became is a fantasy novel set in modern day New York. The premise of this fantasy setting is that cities are born and have avatars, so it's like this one person is the living embodiment of the city and kind of is the protector and the essence of the city. So in this case, we have New York. New York has an avatar that is born, but because each of the 5 boroughs of New York are so distinct, they each also have an individual avatar. So the main avatar for New York City goes to sleep, and Manhattan and Queens and Brooklyn and Staten Island and the Bronx all have to come together and defeat this woman in white who is like slowly taking over the city with these creepy white tendrils that control people, and also find the avatar for New York City. I now completely 100% understand why people say N.K. fucking Jemisin, because N.K. fucking Jemisin wrote this goddamn book. It was so good. I haven't had fun with a fantasy novel in I can't tell you how long. This is a heavy book. I'm gonna put you down for a minute. Like the other books I read for this video, the characters were phenomenal. Each of the 5 boroughs, as well as different friends and allies and accomplices and people who were like antagonistic in this book. Everyone was so well fleshed out. I could not handle it. My fiance is from Staten Island, and I just kept explaining things to Will throughout the entire book, and they were like, oh my god, that sounds like home. Everything that N.K. Jemisin did in this book was just 100% A+. I thought it was all fantastic. I thought the writing was great, the stakes felt high, the characters were great. I have 0 complaints about this book. I'm very satisfied with the ending of the book, and I'm excited to see what N.K. Jemisin does in the future with this series. So this one's 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely see why people like it. We'll talk about that in the wrap-up that's about to come in like 20 seconds. But yeah, would definitely recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all for making me read this book. Hi, here with my little wrap-up. I think that so far, this is the most fun reading that I've had out of the 3 signs I've done. These books felt like books that I would have picked up outside of the challenge. All of these books had premises that I really enjoy. They were by authors who I enjoy seeing online. I enjoy their online presence. Come very recommended from people that I really trust. So Gideon the Ninth was so much fun. I had fun with this very creative world building and kind of theorizing how it came to be. I liked learning about all of the different houses, all of their different traits, their personalities, their characteristics. And like, I understand that those might at face value seem like the same thing, but like, everything in here is so different and unique, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the world building, I enjoyed the magic system, I enjoyed all the side characters. I had villains that I could hate and people I could root for, and I just thought it was so good. And then I'm gonna parrot all of those things and say the exact same thing about The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. Heroes I can root for, a villain I can hate, really fun character work, very cool specific like traits and personalities for each of the avatars of the different boroughs, similar to this one, how each necromancer and cavalier from each house is very different, and how the different magics from different people from different places all work differently. And the humor, these books were very entertaining, and I found myself like smiling and like laughing out loud at a couple of parts. The next book I want to talk about is the nonfiction Heartberries that I read. I feel like I am a little bit farther removed from this book, in the sense that like I didn't really want to talk about it for the video in the context of it being a Gemini book. But I do think that this book, while it deals with very heavy topics, it deals with like assault and mental health and, you know, mental hospitals and therapy and drinking and like abusive partner, like it deals with so much. So I think that I can talk about this book in the context of it, like the unique voice, which is something that I found in all of the books, felt like a very Gemini quality to me. That's about as far as I could go in dissecting this in a Gemini format. But I did really enjoy this. It made me cry a couple times for it to be so short. I really enjoyed it. So would definitely recommend this one. You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. Fan-fucking-tastic. I enjoyed our main character, I enjoyed the side characters, I enjoyed the plot. I did think that it was a little bit more intense than I thought. I had gone into this expecting nothing but fluff. It also deals with like losing parents, and her brother has a medical condition, and, you know, outing, like public outing. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I want to see this as a movie. I think this would be a great movie. Very funny. It made me laugh. I appreciated the fact that all of these books dealt with like secret identity sort of things. Or rather like double identity. With Heartberries as a memoir, we had the author talking about like being a mother and also like mental illness, and how those two things are very separate but can go hand in hand. You have like the before and the after, and it was very interesting to see like the different dynamics and how both of those things kind of came into play into her life. You Should See Me in a Crown, we have the fact that Liz is kind of this quiet, not really nerdy, but like semi-popular girl. It's interesting to see like how she maneuvers everything and kind of rises to the top. Also, like some secret-y stuff that goes down in here that I'm not going to spoil. So with this one, I think another thing that's interesting in the context of Gemini is the fact that with this book, you had 2 of everything. There were a couple of exceptions to the rule, but basically each of the 9 houses has like a necromancer and a cavalier, and they're supposed to work together to figure out this kind of puzzle house mystery. And I thought it was very interesting in the context of Gemini being the twins, how you need the Cavalier and the Necromancer to work together. And then with the City We Became, you literally have the 5 boroughs of New York, plus the 1 avatar of New York, and double identities, and what it's like being, you know, you as a person versus you as a borough, and the embodiment of your little mini city. I'm just gonna end it on a positive note there because I'm kind of tired, and I really want to get started reading for the Cancer vlog. I'm very excited for that one. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a thumbs up and subscribing and hitting the bell and all that good stuff. Everyone who I got a recommendation from for this video, I will leave in a list down below, so make sure you go check them out. I will leave their Twitters or podcasts or vlogs or channels or wherever you can find them downstairs, so make sure you go do that. Also, if you want to go follow me around the internet or support me further, you can click on the link tree at the top of my bio. It'll take you to all my social medias and other places I make bookish content, as well as some places you can support me further if you so choose outside of YouTube. Comment question of the day: what's your sign? Are you a Gemini? Let me know your favorite book with like a secret identity, dual identity thing going on. If you don't have time, you don't have an answer, you don't have the spoons, you don't want to answer, whatever your reason is, let me know you made it all the way until the end of the video by leaving me an emoji, preferably a yellow heart or a smiley face emoticon. I hope you have a wonderful, whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time with another video. Thank you for watching. Okay.